One of the quietest yet most dangerous habits stealing our peace is overthinking. It doesn't crash like an accident or roar like a storm, but slowly and silently eats away at our happiness. We replay every mistake in our minds, that one wrong word, that missed chance. Then, we start creating problems that don't even exist. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm just not enough? It feels like our mind becomes a prison, and the cruel twist? We're both the prisoner and the guard. These days, with constant pressure, competition, and chaos around us, overthinking has become so common that many don't even notice how deeply it's ruining their peace. Studies show it heightens anxiety, lowers focus, and even harms health. Yet nobody really talks about it. That's why today's story is for anyone who's ever felt trapped inside their thoughts. A story that reveals why overthinking is so dangerous and how to finally break free. Listen closely, because one line from this story might just change how you think forever. In a quiet coastal town lived a fisherman named Ethan, skilled, hard-working, and admired for catching the best fish. He had only one flaw: he thought too much. Every morning, while others pushed their boats into the sea, Ethan sat on the shore staring into the waves, his mind drowning in what-ifs. What if there's a storm? What if I catch nothing? What if my boat breaks? What if no one saves me? These thoughts chained him to the sand. One bright morning, the sea was calm, the sky clear. All the fishermen sailed out except Ethan. Hours later, they returned laughing, boats heavy with fish. Ethan forced a smile, but inside, regret weighed him down. Another day lost to his own mind. Then one morning, an old sailor named Thomas saw Ethan sitting alone again. Thomas, known for his sharp wisdom, walked over and asked, "Ethan, why are you sitting here? The sun is up, the tide is right, and the fish are waiting." Ethan sighed. "But what if something goes wrong? What if I get lost or the storm comes?" Thomas smiled softly and pointed toward the horizon. "See that bird flying over the waves? It doesn't know if it'll find food, but it flies anyway. The only way to know is to try." That moment struck something deep inside Ethan. He finally decided to sail. No overthinking, just action. To his surprise, the sea was peaceful, the sun kind, and the fish plenty. He returned with a full boat and a light heart. But old fears never vanish overnight. Weeks later, dark clouds loomed over the village. The fisherman, though nervous, still prepared to sail. Ethan froze, thoughts racing. What if the storm sinks my boat? What if I never return? Thomas appeared again and said, "Caution is wise. Fear is heavy. Learn the difference." Ethan stayed that day, and though the storm came, it passed quickly. The others returned safely, and Ethan realized his fear had been far bigger than the danger itself. Months later came the town's grand festival, a reward for whoever caught the biggest fish. Ethan wanted to join, but that familiar whisper returned. What if I fail? What if they laugh? He almost gave up until Thomas placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Ethan, fear of failure is the anchor that keeps many ships tied to the shore. Untie yourself." Encouraged, Ethan went. He battled rough waves, harsh winds, and long hours without a single catch. But in the final moment, you won't believe what happened. He caught the biggest fish of his life and won the festival. The cheers from the crowd didn't just echo in his ears. They quieted the noise in his head, if only for a while. One evening, Thomas took Ethan to the cliff overlooking the sea. The setting sun painted the waves gold. Thomas said, "Ethan, your mind is like the sea. When the waves are wild, you can't see through. Calm it, and your path becomes clear." From that day, Ethan made a new habit. Before making any decision, he'd take a deep breath, count to 10, and ask, "Is this thought protecting me or stopping me?" Slowly, his life transformed. He sailed more, feared less, and lived more freely. He even began teaching younger fishermen not just how to catch fish, but how to think clearly. Overthinking is like sitting in a rocking chair. It keeps you moving but takes you nowhere. Most fears live only in our imagination. Life will never give perfect conditions. The sea will always have waves, the sky will always have clouds, and the future will always be uncertain. If you keep waiting for things to be safe, you'll miss the greatest catches of your life, so take the step. Trust yourself. You might discover the storm you feared was never in the sea. It was in your mind all along.